first of all, of how much you have accomplished in, just a few years. You haven't done I mean, this right here needs to be done in every state. And you're saying homelessness is everywhere. So for me, it's like we have this situation now and it's growing. Where do we even start? And then we have experts like you that we can just ask the questions and, at least get a start. That has happened with me. Someone recommended from the city that this church in this area contact me. They have, I believe it's 100 sleeping bags, and they have some kind of kit that comes along with it. And they want to just go out and distribute. And I said, no, this is a process. And you can't just like roll up and with your crew, and especially if you don't know, like, how some of them may be feeling. It just needs to be where, okay, let's just make sure we're all on one accord, that we understand we have to treat everybody with respect, no matter what. These are the things, all of what you've just mentioned. So with that understanding and the fact that now they're going to be looking to a resource like you to kind of coach them, do you have a process where, if just like this church now wants to do this, when someone approaches you about, hey, how do I distribute this and how do I get involved with addressing the population that's homeless or unhoused in my area? Is there something that you already have in place that they have to follow a process to get to you?
What, at the church?
Yeah, the church coming to you.
So
and they want your help.
we do get I'll just call it referral for the time being, referrals like that or requests and for that kind of stuff. Now I will say the work that our staff does in our agency is extremely intimate, right? Because we're talking about their health needs, we're talking about their social security, not like just things that you can't just bring volunteers to come with. So we typically on our day-to-day do not take volunteers out with us. Okay. Now, that being said, if a group wants to, like if this church if they didn't want to just give us the sleeping bags and let us distribute, and they wanted to distribute, I would give them some quick tips. Okay. But I'm not going to send somebody from my staff out. No, we don't have that kind of. Gotcha. No, it's either you got to hand them over and trust that we're going to do right by them, or you can do them yourself when I'll give you some pointers. Now, real. I 100 because we're just yes. It's a capacity thing for us too. Like we have, I don't know, what is it, 300 people or so in our program right now. Like, so taking time to do that kind of stuff is significant when it significantly impacts our ability to really do right by our clients. So I have to manage that because we're not a huge organization, but. I think there are moments where folks who know what we do kind of want to experience that, which I get it because I think we have the best job ever. Like what we're able to accomplish for folks in real time is amazing, and we literally they save lives daily.
So I want to go back to something you just said, because a lot of times people think that, oh, we're going to go out and we're going to help the unhoused. We're going to take some food and maybe a sleeping bag and some toiletries, and yay, that's the end of it. But I want you to go back and list again what you just said, the services that you actually provide. It is more to it than a bag of food and some toiletries, sleeping bags and stuff. I think a lot of people have that misconception about when you go out and it's just like, sleeping bags with a kit, it's more to it than that.
So for our staff, listen, people, the need for food and the need for sleeping bags when you're unhoused, that's never going to go away if you're unhoused. However, for my team, we use those things as kind of leverage or rapport building tools, if you will. So typically, if we're going into an encampment, right, and we've cold, never been there before, what does that look like? Hey guys, this is Jessica. I'm with Street Outreach, Hearts for the Invisible. Just coming in to check on you guys. I got some sleeping bags here and some hygiene kits, and we got some hot cocoa that we wanted to distribute to y'all. How do y'all feel about that? Okay. I did a video recently where you can hear me doing just that.
Yeah, I saw.
And then the guy, and they were very, very welcoming to me. So, and that was me. I shouldn't have been in there alone. Don't tell anybody. But I kind of went back to, I literally was on my way to Home Depot and I saw it. I was like, oh, I got to stop. But
Wow.
so it's you start off like that. So it's that rapport building.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we're gonna have a consistent relationship with people. We're not gonna drop food off one day and then they never see us again.
Seeing that
That
part.
is the difference, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that like that resource is not needed. It absolutely is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the same as what we do with that resource because it's continued case management. It is, we're going to try to get your food stamps, your ID, your Medicaid.
Wow.
We're going to try to connect you to family. If it might be family out there that maybe you going through a rough patch and you weren't talking to them, but they miss you and they love you and they want you back home. We're going to get you on that bus and get you back home to mama.
Okay.
Like just things like that. Sometimes it's just really small things that can end a person's homelessness. Just a simple conversation,
Wow.
but these are intimate conversations. So having volunteers there to do that is
Right.
not.
Somebody just
It's
here
not.
for
It's
just
not. It
that
doesn't help
moment. Yeah.
our cause at all.
Right.
But I'm gonna plug this because this is happening this month. I co-lead the annual point in time count with Mecklenburg County Community Support Services. So what that is essentially is a homeless census. So
Okay.
this event we usually have about 200, roughly about 200 volunteers. That also includes CMPD. This year it's going to be a little bit unique because we have a lot more outreach workers than we've had in the past, which means that they're going to know where a lot of these folks are, which is another reason why I really want to hone in down on the West Side locations,
Okay.
so we can have people over. Now, the importance of the homeless census is it gives us a real-time picture of who is experiencing homelessness, and we ask some questions that kind of help us to strategize and to better solve and to advocate for in our homeless response.
Mm-hmm.
So last year we counted 440 individuals. This year I honestly I think based on what I've seen, I don't do outreach anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I have to play executive director now. I still try to dip and dabble my foot in there when I can, but I honestly, just from my own visual sense, I really feel like we'll count at least 600 people this year. Now, my real number of how many people I think are experiencing homelessness in this county, I think is close to 2,000.
Yes.
Easily.
Yes.
There's people who are so hidden in locations and they're pros at this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just it's timing, and sometimes it's just like that's why I like when I found that camp the other day. I was like, if I don't stop now, I'm not going to remember. I'm going to forget about it. I don't want to forget about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it was it's good, but I highly recommend that people do not follow what I did. Never go into an encampment by yourself. Always have a partner. Always announce yourself and what you're there for, because you are going onto it's not their property, but it is their home.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So you got to think it's somebody going on your front porch that you don't want on your front porch, right? It's the same thing. So you always want to be courteous that you're going into somebody's space.
Sorry, I have a cold.
Oh, that's okay. It's okay. But I think it is. I think it is a good idea for folks that want to have that one-on-one opportunity with folks who are experiencing housing instability or homelessness, is to really engage with an organization and ask those questions like, how do we do this? What is the most dignified way to serve people who are without housing? And that is really the key to it, because I see you don't want to be the person who's handing out the hygiene kits and got the camera right on the person, because that's not dignified.
Right.
To do that. I mean, it's just not.
Absolutely.
So just, think about, would you want a camera in your face when you're in a situation where you needed help?
Yep.
That's important too.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all of that, because it's so important. And as we have people, they have big hearts. They want to go and help, but it's good to
That
know.
was how I started. So I'm like, I get it. I
The
get
big
it.
heart. Yes, 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 yes. Well, give us some advice as we close out for today. What would you leave us with as we, move into 2026? How do we continue? Excuse me. How do we continue to address, our unhoused and support them?
So I think the first thing, and this is probably one of the most important things to me, is to really check your biases before you even start the process of wanting to work this population, because you may walk up on somebody who is smoking a crack pipe. You know what I'm saying? You may see some things, right? And I need one myth I need for folks to know too is in many cases, and I would say almost majority of the cases of people who are unhoused and struggling with substance use disorder, they didn't start out that way.
Right.
It was they became addicted to drugs based on their circumstances of being unhoused, right?
That's right.
A lot of our folks have mental illness because of the situation that they're in, right? So they're being unhoused is what's caused the substance use disorder, the mental health disorder. These are things. So what that tells me to tell you is that this could happen to any of us, right? So this you're not in them shoes yet, but you could be, right?
Yep.
So you got to be able to check your biases to the side. You might walk up with somebody and they're cussing left and right and they're pissed off. You just got to let it go, And maybe that day that you go to approach somebody who's unhoused and you want to give them something, whether it's, that cup of coffee or that meal, the sleeping bag, and they may not seem like they're interested or just not in the headspace to talk in that moment. You can simply say, hey man, like I just wanted to bring this stuff up to you. I'm going to sit it down right here. Maybe the next time I come around, you and I can have a nice little chat. And you keep going.
Okay.
It's just treat somebody like a human being, and not because we start just because a person's unhoused treating them differently than a person who is housed, then we become the problem.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today. It's real issues, real problems, and we want to make sure that we're bringing light to it in every area of Charlotte and beyond. So thank you so much for all that you do, your entire team. And of course, now we're joined at the hip. I'm not letting this lady go. We are going to stay connected to be able to address what's happening right here in the historic Hoskins community and well beyond Thomasboro and just this entire area that I call the forgotten area of Charlotte. You don't hear a lot about what happens in Hoskins, where we're changing that up. And we appreciate everybody that has tuned in today. Send a prayer up for me that this last stretch of this cold goes away. And I can continue to do all that I do here in this area of Charlotte as well. So again, we appreciate you and your work and all that is happening right here at the A Brighter Day Community Hub and Food Pantry. So thank you all. We appreciate you going to all of our platforms and tuning in. Please share. And if you'd like to give, go to our website at www.abrighterdayoutreach.org. Hit the donate button and we'll be glad to take your donation and share it with the community. Thank you all, and we'll see you again next time.